Twilight Zone.
Welcome in, everyone. It's Tuesday night. You know what time it is. The Bama Standard is on the air. Before we get rolling, need a few favors from everyone who is watching at home. Hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button. Live chat. Do your thing. Get your questions in. We will pin them and answer them in the Q&A segments. Also, if you're watching the replay, get in the comment section below. Show us some love there. We'd love to hear your takes. Whether you agree or disagree, either way, we want the discussion. I'm your host, Justin Riley. With me, as always, my all-star crew, headlined by the 1999 All-SEC linebacker, Mr. Marvin Constant.
Hey, roll Tide.
Yes, sir, roll Tide. And then the voice of the strip, Daniel Pettey.
Let's go.
Let's go. Always great to be here on a Tuesday after the third Saturday in October, and most importantly, a Tide victory where we smoked them because we had them. Roll Tide to that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, but before we do, we got a special guest in the building. First time to the show. He's going to help us talk about the Gamecocks. He is the host of Locked On Gamecocks and the host of Fourth and Wrong Pod. You need to check that out. But more importantly, he's here to help us figure things out with this trip to South Carolina. Chris Marler, welcome in, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Also, it's not going to take long to figure it out. It's going to be a pretty quick study for South Carolina, just being honest. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I appreciate you guys having me.
And per discussion, find out, folks, he is also a double agent or a triple agent, according to Courtney McKinney.
Yeah,
he's a South Carolina reporter, SEC writer, of course, but he's also an Alabama fan, but a closet Georgia fan. You want to comment on that?
No, I'm not. I've been covering the SEC for like 9 years. I grew up in a household of Bama fans, and I that's all I'll say. I just enjoy college football. I enjoy talking about it, and I think sometimes there was a couple of years there for Bama, especially when if you say something positive about Georgia, it would rub people the wrong way. So, but no, you were right about the first two for sure.
And most importantly, you're a Marvin Constant fan because that was the first thing that you mentioned when we were discussing you coming on. So, Marvin, you got a big fan here of you.
Yeah, man.
It's always a pleasure to meet, the Crimson Tide Nation, the fans, baby, because this is what you do it for. This is when you come out that tunnel. This is why you come out the tunnel. So thank you for being on with us.
Yeah, brother.
Yes, sir.
It's like a core memory, I think, from that 99 team for Bama fans, because like you just went through so much crap for like 2 years prior to that with the Dubose like first couple years, and then that team was like, I remember being in the stands for that Louisiana Tech game, and it was like, what the hell happened? And then they just went on a tear and beat everybody, and you saved that LSU game, so that was awesome, man.
Well, thank you. I often say our defensive scheme, that La Tech game, we went away from what we've been doing all season. And I don't say it to be funny. Like, I barely played that game. because we were running a lot of nickel and dime that game. And I was like,
Yeah.
The defense is not going to run the same with me.
You talking about the La Tech game?
Yeah. So, and I think I ended up blocking 2 kicks, a field goal and a kick, a field goal and a PAT that game. So, because that's all I got to do that game because I didn't really get to play.
You did it well.
Yeah, you're telling me you just watched Tim Rattay from the sideline.
Unbelievable.
Pretty much. We were pretty much in nickel and dime the entire game. So, for whatever reason, that was the choice that was made. But, thankfully we didn't.
Well.
Huh?
It worked well.
Well, thankfully we didn't go with that approach against Florida. They actually let me play, do my job.
But Chris, how I knew that you were a legit Marvin Constant fan, and Pettey, I think you'll back me up on this. When you said the words Jefferson Pilot Sports, I knew you were the real deal.
It was so bad. Like, I don't know how many grainy ass Southern Miss games I had to watch. Like, they were like 20-10 in the mid 90s. Everything presented by Golden Flake. I think there were only 4 companies in the world at that point. Like, I don't think we had Apple or anything. It was just Golden Flake, Coca-Cola, and I don't even know. I think Huddle House came in there at some point, which I didn't even know existed down here in the Waffle House land. But yeah, that was and the thing that also made it awful, or what made it memorable, Marvin, was that game was like a split 11:30 game with like Mississippi State and like or Tennessee and Kentucky or something terrible. And it was like, my God, tell me you had to fight to make sure that that game was on. Otherwise, you had to go listen to it on dial-up internet. I'm dating myself here, but man.
Yeah, trust me, I get it. My first start was against Vandy on the JP kickoff.
I was just about to say, if it wasn't for Jefferson Pilot, most people wouldn't know Vanderbilt's a school. In the 90s.
Yeah.
Who the hell is this? But you turn on 11 and there's Ole Miss and Vanderbilt in the 3 days.
It was always Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. It was always a 28-7, 24 game too.
Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, you could circle. Yeah, we're getting that JP. It's like a Super Bowl for those 2 assholes.
Hey, don't forget Southern Miss too. They gained relevancy because of Jefferson Pilot, so they're thankful for that check.
Well, and look, because of Jefferson Pilot, we still shit on that noon game, right? We're like, the noon game, you got that JP slot, and ABC's like, no, we're trying. Like, you do realize for 4 years going out of game day, we've been putting a primetime game. They're like, no, it's just JP.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's literally one of the top 3 games.
They need to do it once a year. They need to do it in the same way that we have like throwback or like, oh, it's National Hot Dog Day for the 18th time this year. Like, they need to do a Jefferson Pilot Day once a year. Get all 3 Daves up there in those oversized white collar shirts and have them be out in about 110-degree heat. And it's only got to be like Vandy, Ole Miss, South Carolina, or Arkansas has to be involved. And one of those teams has to be involved. And no matter who they're playing, you know that the other team's in for like a 4-quarter dogfight for no reason.
Look, make fun of it. And Mississippi is an Ole Miss fan. It was like manna. I didn't know Ole Miss knew what a TV game was until JP. It was like, oh yeah, we get to play Vanderbilt.
Hey man, I had a throwback the weekend before we played Tennessee. I was scouting Tennessee when watching the Arkansas game. Dave Neal called that game. It's like I went to time warp. Do what?
Are you talking about the 2007 Tennessee, or are you talking about the Arkansas game?
No, the Tennessee Arkansas game this season. So yeah, Dave Neal called that game on SEC Network.
He's still getting bad games. I feel bad for him.
It's just there's a ceiling he's got. His daughter Holly apparently went past it, but Marvin, it was kind of relegation for you guys when y'all played on. Bama only played on JP when it was like y'all were playing Vandy or Ole Miss. Otherwise, it was CBS or ESPN or whatever. It was
the 3:30 to CBS game. That was usually the big deal.
Yeah.
But Marvin and his guys won the 11 o'clock game, so they could have the rest of the day to do their thing.
You damn right. Let me get my freedom.
Well, listen, let's get to it. I know that we have already covered Alabama versus Tennessee on the post game. At least Pettey and I have. But we don't officially wrap it up until we get the final words from Marvin. And Chris, since you're here too, I definitely want to hear from you. So Marvin, start us out about the takeaways that you got from the Tennessee game. And then Chris, if you could follow up before we get into South Carolina.
I seen the team take a step week over week. Team got progressively better. The offense continued to improve. I will say it. We have to find continuity on our offensive line. We're still giving up too many sacks and pressures because somebody has a revolving door. I'm not going to call any names or numbers, but there's one member of this line who is like a swinging gate, baby. Like you're going to blow right past him. We have to find a more consistent offensive line as we move through the season because our rush yards are still not what we need them to be to control games and to close them out. Because, again, as we move deeper into the schedule, Oklahoma's going to we can't run the ball in Oklahoma. It's going to be a problem. Same with Auburn because we know what they want to do. And on the flip side, our defense, we're still struggling with the run. We have to figure out that piece. How do we stop the run? Because, again, we know what's ahead of us, and everybody's going to try to run the ball on us. Thankfully, South Carolina does not have that type of run game to where they're going to threaten us like that. So we should be good on that front. But for the most part, I've seen the team make drastic improvements. I've seen the team show some resiliency, pick six on the goal line going into the half, completely changed the dynamic of the game, took Tennessee's will. Tennessee came out the second half, put up some fight, but they were not the same team that they were the first half. That pick six took a lot out of them. So, again, saw a team that make the right steps. Jones Pierre stepped up big, baby. Yeah. So those are the things that we need to see from this team. The younger guys, the guys we don't know, the guys whose names haven't been called, man, a lot of times it's not because they can't do it. It's because they hadn't been given the opportunity to do it. So start giving these guys the opportunity to show who they are and what they can do, and this team will continue to get better. And, again, I still have questions about our defensive coordinator and some of the calls that are being made.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something before you go, Chris, Marvin?
No, my turn.
Going in order. This is medieval times. Well, now, Marvin, I made an analogy on the show after the game, and I know, look, that's a great breakdown, and I knew you would be very critical, and we're going to be critical of Alabama because that's what we do, right? But I also know you watch other teams, and I kind of made a cheese analogy. You know, when Saban was coaching, this was a block of cheddar. There weren't any holes in Alabama's team. Everything was solid. But in this world of college football, every team is Swiss cheese. Every team's got a hole somewhere. You just talked about Oklahoma. Well, their hole is offense. Everybody's got some major problem. When you look at Alabama, and I know you're worried still about the rush D, about the offensive line having a closing door. I feel like Alabama's Swiss cheese, though, at this point in the season, the holes are a little bit smaller than everybody else's. Yeah, that's a problem. But those problems, there's problems on defense, but that defense only gave up 20 points to the highest scoring offense in the nation. Were there leaks? Yeah, but not leaks like everybody else. They still were able to make enough stops and do it in a better way than other people are doing it. Or am I crazy for looking at it in that way?
No, I mean, you want to see a team take those steps week over week, getting better. And they did do that. So I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is the end-all, be-all goal is not to get better week over week. It's to take home this gold, shiny piece of metal that has a football-shaped little thingy on the top of it. There's Dr. Pepper commercials about it. So to get that damn thing, you got to get better week over week. Because when you start playing the Ohio States of the world, and I don't know if you took the time to watch Indiana and the way they straight manhandled and played bully ball with Oregon. If you're going to play with these guys in the playoffs, this is the point in the season when you prepare yourself for that. This is when you get better. This is when you get those young guys, those crucial reps that they're going to need to carry you as you continue to lose the war of attrition as injuries start to set in. People are tired and fatigued. This is when you got to lean on those guys. So, again, I'm all for getting better week over week. Yeah, we did that. But just understand the ultimate goal here. Gold, shiny piece of metal, football on the top. Yeah, we still got a lot of damn work to do to get another one of those.
Chris, before you go, Courtney McKinney is giving you a shout out. She says, Ann says, hi, Aunt Chris.
What's up, Ann's? The youngest fan. I can't believe that that Courtney allows her to have access to a phone so she can see what she says on Twitter. It's mind-blowing. Ann's is the best, though, and Courtney is too, so that's nice.
Well, yeah, let's hear from you, brother.
So I think there were so many positives. I mean, listen, like it is – we've all been watching SEC football. We've already given away our ages and the nostalgia thing from the JP jokes and all that kind of stuff. But like the fact that's 4 straight games against top 25 SEC opponents without an off week, And the fact that's the first time it's ever happened, that's insane. Like that's an incredible testament to how good this team has been. It started for me with Kalen DeBoer. I know the video has gone viral now, but him coming out of the tunnel, that was a different Kalen DeBoer than I feel like I've seen a lot of times on the sideline. And it's hard to get up for 3 straight weeks, let alone 4, especially if I thought they were going to have a struggle after the Georgia game like they did last year against Vandy. And they get back up for the Vandy game, and then they get back up for a Mizzou game and a sleepy little 11 a.m. kick there in Como. And then, the Tennessee game, I just thought, as limited as Tennessee is offensively this year in comparison to like other years like 2022, I thought with Missouri, that those teams were going to come out and try to run the football at Bama over and over and over again until it failed. And that's like, if there's a weakness, the whole of the Swiss cheese thing, if there's a biggest hole, it's the run defense. And we see it at times get exposed where it's like they have these like breaking like these like long runs. And then, you look up in the fourth quarter against Mizzou, and Ahmad Hardy has 11 carries in the game so far, ends with like 12 or 52. That's not taking anything away from the victory. I was just surprised that more teams aren't trying to run the football. Georgia, obviously, that whole thing what they did on fourth down a couple of times, even in the first quarter, not even the last play call they had on fourth. The other part of it, I think, is what Marvin said about being able to effectively run the football. I don't need them to run for 240 yards a game, and I don't need any of the backs to have like 100-yard game streaks or anything like that. I don't care about all that. When it's 3rd and 2, I would love to be able to have the confidence to see that team be able to line up and run for the first down. And if you think that doesn't matter, and they're still very creative on offense, and the play calling's been awesome. Those two, Grubb and DeBoer together, been great. But the only turnover we have, or Alabama has for this year, shouldn't have said we, but Alabama has for the entire year, right, is on a 4th and 1 when they didn't feel confident enough that they could run the football, that they throw for it on 4th down, and that's where the interception comes from. And we've seen a bunch of 4th down throws. And so I think that part is the concern, I think, for me going forward at the end, because there's still a lot of tough games on that schedule. The Oklahoma defense is legit. I mean, LSU's defense is legit. So I think that there are still some concerns and something to get through, but there's also most of the response, I think, from this past week should be praising the team, the focus they had for a 4th straight week, and Kalen DeBoer and the staff for getting them up. I'm also kind of with you, though, with there's some concerns there and things that make me nervous with Kane Wommack's defense.
Well, that, and again, if you can't run the ball, on defense, you have your closer. Your defensive closer is going to be your defensive end who's going to get those sacks when you need them, because, again, you have your opponent down and they have to pass the ball. That's why you need a good closer. On offense, you need a running back who's a good closer because, again, when you're going to your 4-minute offense, you need to be able to effectively run the ball because if you're having to pass the ball and you're throwing incomplete passes, the clock is stopping. So if we can't run a successful 4-minute offense with a power run game, that's a problem. And I'll say this to Eric D. Eric D made a comment at 7:16, Justin. He says that pick six did nothing outside of add to the lead because Tennessee still scored in the first and second half. Yeah, they still scored. But I'm going to tell you from experience, Eric, you're in a dogfight as a defensive player. My quarterback throws a pick six, and he puts us down 14 after we've been fighting our ass off. It's going to take some of it out of us. It's going to take some of it out of us because, again, it's like you're fighting this damn battle, and the guys on offense aren't giving you anything. And you look at some of the decisions that were made on offense, every time you get that incomplete pass, bad throw, interception, every time, fumble, it takes a little bit more out of your defense. So to think that those little small things don't impact the game, I call BS. Trust me, because, again, you turn the ball over, we mad because it's like we're doing everything in our power to keep us in the game, but you're pissing it away.
It's kind of crazy too. I saw this when it happened. I was like, all right, if it's 4th and 1, like the thing that makes that offense so difficult to stop isn't Jalen Hyatt running a go route like in 2022. It's like they spread you out where they're damn near like next to the water stand over here, like on the sideline, like over near like the ivy and the bushes, and then you're playing with like 10 men on defense because of how spread out you are, and they're able to run the ball like effectively between the tackles. Like that whole offense is predicated off the run, and always has been, even though they throw it a ton. But if you come out on 4th and goal from the 1, and you're lined up, if you watch the tape, they call a timeout, or Bama calls a timeout, whoever it was. Tennessee comes back in the same exact formation. I thought they should have gone 3 or 4 wide, so at least you and present the pass, because even if you run it, fine. But they come out, and then Bama has 8 down linemen. They come back out with 5, and it's like, that's a great adjustment from Wommack.
Well, here's the thing. I'm sitting here watching the game with one of my former teammates. As soon as we see the formation, we just look at each other and bust out laughing. Because we like, ain't no way nobody's buying this. They're bunched in tight.
Right.
You run play action with 6 seconds on the clock, no time out. So everybody knows you're not handing that damn ball off, because if you get stopped, the game, the half is over. So the corners are gonna squat because they know you have to pass the ball. They know there's no run option even on the table at this point. So yeah, they're gonna squat on this crap. And I'm like, that has to be the worst play call ever in that situation.
Yeah, I agree.
It worked out beautifully. I loved it. But Marvin, to your point, I think we found our closer on defense. Yante Pierre is showing that he's that guy, and we may have found a closer on offense in Daniel Hill. We're going to get into that a little bit later.
Let my man Yante have this cigar. Whoever that hater was who told him to go to the locker room, you are the fun police. Let that man live.
I can't agree more. All right, we got a game this week, and let's get to it. Alabama.
Before we move forward with the cigar stuff, please, for the love of all that is holy, tell me y'all saw the picture that once again surfaced with our boy Reuben Foster, friend of the program, in the locker room with a cigarette.
Ripping a heater, baby.
Ripping a heater while everybody else has got a cigar, and our boy Reuben's like, F it, I'm going with what I got and what I love.
We're going to have to get him back on next week and get his his recap. He had Newports in the linebackers' lockers too. There were boxes.
Stay on brand, man. Stay on brand.
I saw that, and it made my whole I was like, that's it. I'm good.
Well, I missed that, and I'm glad I missed that. I don't want to see my brother like that, man.
He was living life, man. He had a great time. But yeah, let's get to it. Alabama versus South Carolina. I'm going to start this thing out just like Alabama. South Carolina is in the middle of their gauntlet. As we know, Alabama has won 4 straight versus ranked opponents. South Carolina, on the other hand, has faced LSU and Oklahoma, both winless against those two. Now they have number 4 Alabama before facing number 8 Ole Miss. Shout out to Pettey. Number 3 Texas A&M. We know what we're we know what we're getting from LaNorris Sellers, but let's call it what it is. The offensive line and playmakers just have not been there for the Gamecocks. Defense has been better than expected, but they're banged up. Alabama, on the other hand, continues to improve. It makes this matchup a little different than what we envisioned heading into this season. Chris, I'm going to ask you to start us out first, then we'll go to Marvin, then to Pettey for the questions. Chris, what is the state of this Gamecock team going into the game?
Emotionally, not great, guys. Not great. It has been a very frustrating year. You come in with so many high expectations, I think, for South Carolina. And, with good reason. I understand what they lost. One of the things I kept saying all offseason was everybody that kept saying, well, they lost so much talent in the NFL draft and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't think that those players at the start of the season were going to be those types of players. Like, nobody was sitting there talking about Kyle Kennard for SEC Defensive Player of the Year or Demetrius Knight Jr. going to be a top 50 pick. And then with the track record that Beamer and that defense, Clayton White, they had at taking 3 stars, taking kids from the portal that were kind of overlooked and being able to develop them into really good players and have a lot of production. And in some cases, the NFL draft picks, like, there was not a ton to make you think with the continuity of the staff and what you were losing and what you're bringing back that it was going to be a nightmare. And it's been a nightmare. And Mike Shula has been really bad. And the offensive line, I would say I hate to throw this man's name under the bus, but I don't, if I'm being honest. It's like the entire offensive line is made up of 2005 Chris Caps. It is just 5 Chris Caps across the line.
Ooh, that's
and
bad.
And here's the thing.
You're in good company.
3 of them are out because of injury. And so you even have backups in. It's just like you're so decimated up front. They cannot seem to block. They can't figure out the run game. The scheme is bad offensively. It's not really conducive to what the skill set is for LaNorris Sellers. And the other part of it too is like I about lost my mind on Saturday because this is a microcosm of the entire thing. And I know fans love to complain about the play calling, all that kind of stuff. But I'll just give you like a look like about Shula from the outside looking in. Mike Shula is the offensive coordinator. I mean, man's been in football for 40 plus years, and he knows more about football than I ever will. But I also know that when you rush for 50 yards on the first drive of the game and you end with 54 total, that's a problem. And when you don't laugh, it's very, it's very real. But so you end with 54. And then the other part of it too is like, and as you guys know, I know you guys might not know a ton about South Carolina, but you could probably answer this question. If you are able to run the football and it's first and goal from the 9, you're the worst rushing offense in the conference. You average less than 100 yards a game. I would not run 3 straight times from first and goal from the 9. But if you did, you would also have to assume that one of those rushes would be to LaNorris Sellers, your 6'4", 240 unicorn that you have at quarterback. None of them were. And so it's like, it's just been mind-boggling all year. It's been crazy. The injuries are there, and that's certainly something you can use as an excuse. But I mean, it's just each week you have the LSU game. Matthew Fuller has a 72-yard touchdown run. It's the only touchdown they scored. He didn't touch the ball the rest of the game or the rest of the first half. And you're like, what are we doing here? Like what is happening? And so there's so many holes, there's so many issues. And I think people are starting to get restless in Columbia with Shane Beamer, but especially Mike Shula. There was a Fire Mike Shula protest on campus today. It's a real thing. People were marching around. There's worse things you could protest, so I'm in full support of it.
Is this 2005? And
yeah, is this 2000? Yeah,
yeah. Listen, they had a total of 13, I think. There's 12 or 13 trips between the LSU and the Oklahoma game where they crossed the 50 and they came away with 3 total points, like combined, and it's just almost impossible to do. And they're last in penalties. They rank 100th or worse in every major offensive category. And it feels like you can't hit rock bottom. And by God, like my Uncle Daryl, they somehow do it again the next week and hit a new rock bottom. Shout out Uncle Daryl.
But Chris, you brought up some stuff, and that's what it kind of caught me in the offseason. I think everybody got enamored with the 2 shiny objects, which were LaNorris and Dylan Stewart, rightfully so, because they blew up on the scene. But there was a hell of a supporting cast. Dylan Stewart had 3 NFL defensive linemen next to him.
Right.
He had a first-round cornerback sitting behind him. It was a completely different defense. And Rocket Sanders looked like the guy that was a young guy at Arkansas before the leg injury last year. I don't know how many people paid attention, but Rocket Sanders was a damn bull for South Carolina last year. And Faison just really hasn't given that from Snow College. So, yeah, it's one of those things where I think people, and that's why South Carolina fans are upset, because you saw the preseason 13th, 14th ranking or whatever, because Sellers is coming back. He's going to be a Heisman guy. You've got the best young defensive end in the country. But, man, in this new era of the portal, if you're not replacing all these guys real quick or with the right pieces, it can turn into what y'all are watching. Is that kind of accurate?
I mean, yeah, I think the other part of it too, though, is like you have like there was not a ton of reason to doubt what they would be able to do with what they brought in from the portal. And I think the frustrating part is like South Carolina did some really good things last year, like that no one else in the country had done, like where they started working on renegotiating Sellers' contract and Stewart's contract in the first bye week of the season at the end of September. Like they knew what they had there, and they were very, very high on retention from both a staff standpoint and continuity there. And then also from a roster standpoint. So they started working on NIL deals, both big and small, very early on to make sure they would be able to be in a good position coming back. Not dipping into the portal to get another receiver when you have Nick Harbor. That's been kind of a frustrating point. But you also brought in arguably the best recruiting class in the country for that position at receiver. Just none of them gotten the ball. And I see some of the comments like, yeah, you can't blame Mike Shula for everything. But again, if you're telling me that LaNorris Sellers is your quarterback, and you're first and goal from the 9, and that guy doesn't have a single attempt to run, and you're turning around and hanging it off. And then you hear Beamer talk about it afterwards, and he's like, well, I mean, whether we're under center or we're in the shotgun, like you're trying to get downhill with the plays, I think it was a good play call. And it's like, I don't know why he's handing it off anyway. Like, why would he ever be handing it off in that situation? So it is a myriad of inefficiency that they have, and there's been a ton of problems. I think that the thing I keep going back to is, man, if you got that kid as your quarterback, you need to find him some help, but also like let him put the cape on and figure something out. Like at least go down swinging. I don't know. Last thing I'll say, I don't know if you saw the stat from the LSU game that Cole Kubelik put out. I've never seen anything like this in my life. He had 22 rush attempts in that game against LSU. That's 8 more than he had in any other game the entire season. 8 more. He had 19 total yards, and the tracker they had on him, whatever, I guess, I don't know if it's like a air tag from Apple or something, but he had 894 yards traveled on the field to get those 19 yards. He was running.
What?
That is a real stat. Cole Kublik with his infinite ESPN like stat stuff and knowledge, like he posted, and I was like, there's no way. Like it's like my dog getting the zoomies. Like it's like what are we talking about right now? Like that's 894 yards to go 19. That is, I've never heard of anything like that in my life.
Well, you're dead on. You can't put it all on Shula, but he does suck. So you can't put a lot on him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's other problems.
To inspire Marvin's take, Jimmy Clay is throwing $20 your way, Mr. Constant. Roll Tide beat South Carolina. Appreciate you, Jimmy Clay. #1 fan of the Bama Standard. Marvin, we haven't heard from you yet. What you got?
Me? So me?
Oh, it's
my bad.
You sure?
I'm very sure. I'm ready for this. This must be good.
Let's just be clear about this. South Carolina is the new Vandy.
Oh, I don't love that. But you're
South
not wrong.
Carolina is the new Vanderbilt University. South Carolina has become the doormat of the SEC.
Marvin, Kentucky exists.
No. Here's the thing.
Touché. Very good. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Vanderbilt walked into your house, and kicked the living you-know-what out of you.
Yeah.
It was not even close. Wasn't even a game. You let Vandy whoop you 31-7 at home. There's no justification for this. There's not enough Diego Pavia t-shirts in the world that people can sell to justify the way they walk into Columbia and laid y'all down. Now, with that, understand this. There ain't no way in hell that after Alabama just beat Vandy, and Vandy beat Alabama last year, and then Vandy whoops South Carolina 31-7, that Alabama's not going to go to Columbia and try to one-up what Vandy did to you all. I expect Alabama to make a statement against South Carolina because, again, South Carolina is the most underachieving team of the 2025 season. LaNorris Sellers has not lived up to the bill, and I get it. It's not his fault. You have a subpar run game averaging 100 yards per game. Your offensive line is horrible. Your defense, they're underperforming like none other. So I get it. The cards are not in your favor, but at the end of the day, you still have to line up and play the game. And South Carolina is not doing it very well. So they are the new Vandy.
I mean, again, I'll say that Kentucky does exist. But I get what you're saying. I think the thing with that Vanderbilt game that was frustrating was that Sellers goes down. It's like 14-7. He has two people open for a touchdown, managed to throw an interception on an alignment that was backing up in coverage. And then from there, I think you should be up 14-7 or at least 10-7, you would think. And you go down 14-7, then he gets knocked out of the game. And it just was. And the bigger thing too, Marvin, is everybody is like, it's not that him being out cost you the game. It's that the moment that happened and they faced adversity, the whole team melted down. And then you get your ass kicked for however long because they did whatever they wanted to do. And Vandy's a good team and all that kind of stuff. But that was, I think I saw one of the comments too. It's like when South Carolina was able to sneak up on teams last year. I don't think that's the case. I think that they won 6 straight games. They won 6 straight games. They had the longest winning streak in the SEC, not Texas, Bama, Georgia. It was a really good run. And 4 of those wins were against ranked opponents last year. But that team's gone. They're one of the best points made. They don't have Kyle Kennard on the opposite of Dylan Stewart. And it's like, you how great was Will Anderson? Awesome. Even better because Dallas Turner was on the other side of that line.
Yeah, but you look at what they did last year. You look at that, like you said, that stretch against LSU and all those games. Sellers is actually hurt during that stretch, and he's still, limping and playing through his pain, and they still managed to win games. This year, this is not the same team.
That's so bad.
But at the same time, this is still the SEC, so you have to go into these games prepared, understanding that any given Saturday you can take that L. And I think that Florida State game taught this team that early in the season, because again, you're looking at a downtrodden, destitute 3-3 Florida, with 3-4 Florida team, 3-3, whatever they are. Now, I don't know, Florida State. But to lose to that team, I mean, because again, that's something that they have to live with, and that's always going to be an asterisk by them. The fact that they lost to this subpar Florida State team. So, given that, you definitely don't want to revisit that. So I'm not so much worried about them not being prepared. I think that Florida State game woke them up. I think it woke them up, and that they are truly prepared. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we respond. But I think the more important factor would be, how will South Carolina respond? Because, again, a team like this that's been beaten and broken, it's easy to break their wheel. But if you leave them in the game and you give them that confidence, they will still be playing in the third and fourth quarter if you don't put them away early. So, again, hopefully we'll put them away early and take that confidence from them, because if you leave them lingering, we know what can happen.
That's the perfect way to describe what happened last year in this game. Like, Bama was in complete control of that game, 14-0. And you go to get a timeout, and it's 4th and 9. You give a touchdown, and then all of a sudden a safety. And then South Carolina has the ball coming out, and they run like an 18-play drive where they run it 13 times. And you're like, I think it took like 9 minutes off the clock, and all of a sudden you're behind. You're like, what just happened? And so, like, this is a perfect example, I think, for Bama to come in and say, you can't let them – don't play with your food. And I will say, I think there's a little bit of concern, because – just the track record. I mean, DeBoer is 19-3 against ranked opponents. He's awesome. It's the best in the country with that record. 19-3 against top 25 teams. He's struggled in the games where he's playing on the road, unranked opponent, game you should win, sometimes following a big win. And as a double-digit favorite, I think over half of his losses have come in those situations. So I don't even know if I should say this. South Carolina has nothing for Alabama for 60 minutes. But you cannot. This is a game for Alabama where if you're going to come in, you need to put your foot on their throat early,
right?
Because, like you said, they will probably roll over and die. I think if that happens, it's sad as it is.
If we leave them in the game, we may be in a situation where we're having to play a little bit longer, in the second half. This should be a game to where our backups are getting film in the third and fourth quarter. Yeah, we should see Ty play the
Hayden
first
Proctor quarterback.
Right, we should see our starters play the first and the second series of the third quarter. After that, we should be in a position to where we're playing our younger guys to get them those reps that they'll need to get us throughout the season.
All right. What you got, Pettey, before we go to our next?
Yeah, but how much – you're right, Marvin, but still, it's an SEC game on the road, and you've played 4 emotional games where your legs have had to grind. You on the road at Georgia, a Vanderbilt get-back game, which I know you say it's Vandy, but that ain't your mom and daddy's Vandy. That they look like a cute little kitten in Diego, and the bastards will bite you. Then you had to go to Missouri, which was a fist fight. Half our team got knocked out with concussions. Then you come back, play emotional Tennessee. This is another week, and the reason I say that, man, I'm kind of talking about it in the chat. I'm a Vegas guy. I look at lines, and we talked about this before. And I'll say this: when I look at lines in the first of the week, and I say, "Oh, that's my favorite line of the week," 90% of the time, Vegas takes my damn lunch money on that one because it's almost like it's too easy to give me. I'll be honest, this Bama line was that one. I saw it, it's like, oh, shit, the way South Carolina's playing, Bama's on an upward trajectory. This is a bad matchup for South Carolina. This is a gimme. Those twinkly lights in Vegas aren't paid by damn gimmies. They know what they're doing. I feel like, I don't know if it's because, hey, this is where not so much a trap game, but you've played 5 games in a row.
Right.
Hey, help me out of it, Marvin. Say, Pettey, you're an idiot. We're machines, and we're going to get over that. Pettey. I can see where this get ugly and Bama wins by 9 or 10. And you're like, well, shit, Bama won by 9 or 10. The fans are like, but to people that are betting on it, they're like, well, shit, they didn't cover. But it doesn't necessarily – it's not that game where you're –
the line dropped 2 points.
Yeah, since yesterday.
Well, here's the thing, though, Pettey. Yeah, South Carolina's been playing football as well. They're playing in the same conference we're playing in. So they're battling the same wars of attrition we're battling. Mm-hmm. So there's no difference here. The only difference is whose coach is going to have them more prepared to go out there and physically exert their damn will on their opponent and make their asses lay down and quit. That's all that matters. And
that's a good point. Chris, this I want you to answer. You're in there with Beamer seems to be a little damn volatile right now. He's on edge. Yeah. And how much does that parlay into the team and affect them and their mentality to where it starts to get a little antsy in that locker room because coach is on edge. Players are starting to look around in this new world.
I mean, well, I mean, turn on the tape. It's like there's plays where it feels like people take the play off, and it's like, and I think in this day and age especially, there are some players I'm sure they're looking at their stat sheet and they're like, all right, I've played in 3 games, I got one more to maintain a year of eligibility, or I can redshirt. Like that is a very real thing that coaches have to deal with nowadays, where you get the 4-game rule and then hit the portal. Like I said, this staff did a really good job of retaining talent last year and not losing a bunch of players to the portal. They were winning when that happened.
Sounded like they should have let some of them go.
Yeah. Well, they got the whole line, but they did that when they were winning. They're not winning now, so it's a much different situation now. So it'll be tough.
Chris, I kind of like to put some things into perspective, especially from an offensive standpoint. South Carolina's offense seems to be getting worse. Like Pettey, I'm talking Auburn bad. At one point, many had LaNorris Sellers round 1, possibly pick one of the upcoming NFL draft. He's not the same guy. Let me give you some numbers here. In 2024, the offense averaged 407.8 yards per game. This year, it dropped to 297.7 yards per game. Let's talk about sacks. They're among the worst last year, 41 sacks allowed. This year, they're already at 26 sacks. They are averaging 3.7 sacks allowed per game, and they're on pace to surpass last year's mark. Of course, it
was 41 the year before that, too.
This bodes well for Yanze Pierre, who is on fire. So you lightly touched on it. I want you to kind of take a deep dive here. I'm hearing all over the place, just like you mentioned. Mike Shula needs to give answers to the Gamecock faithful. How much of the blame goes to him, but also how much of the blame could possibly go to Beamer?
I mean, so here's the thing. I remember doing this last year at the halfway point of the season when they were 3-3, and I'm on doing my show for them, and I go down old school, take a number 2 pencil, and I write down in my notebook, hey, here's what the number is for 30 offensive stats. Here's what they rank in the SEC. Here's what they rank in the country. And they were 13th or worse in 23 of the 30 stats. The only stat they ranked in the top 5 in was punting, which is not great, guys. It's not great. Beamer ball, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, geez, that's terrible. So, and I remember saying, it's like something has to change, or Dowell Loggins, the OC at the time, he's got to go. And then you saw the next week, you brought the 407 yards per game. I mean, they were averaging like 315 in the first 6 games. And that's including with that offensive output against LSU and then whoever else the week after, like Akron or something. There was no sign of change during the bye week. There was no sign of change or in your attempt at what you were going to do from an identity standpoint last week against Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's a really good defense. There's some things that you would like to think they could probably do better this week and make an improvement. But they're not going to be able to, like, Alabama's run defense is the weak spot. They're not going to be exploited by that. Oklahoma had one of the worst rushing offenses in the SEC as well. They were 15th last week, averaging 123 yards per game coming into that game. They had 130 halfway through the second quarter. So, like, it's just on both sides of the ball, it's bad. But offensively, I remember saying you gave up 41 sacks in 2023 with Spencer Rattler as your QB. You gave up 41 sacks in 2024 with LaNorris Sellers as your QB. Those are 2 very different quarterbacks. And now you're on pace to give up over 40 again. And it's been awful. It's been awful. And there hasn't been any shift or anything they've done offensively to make you think they're trying to get out of it.
And they re-signed these players? What are we thinking?
And re-signing Stewart and Sellers was a good move. But it's just like
about the offensive line.
Replace what was lost to the draft.
I'll say this. You all might not want to play Enter the Sandman until the damn game is over. Because, again, they have not earned the right to play that during the game just yet. Things like that, you have to earn those rights. And I don't see them earning that right just yet. And again, this team had such high expectations going into the season. I really thought that South Carolina was going to be one of those games on our schedule, and I was going to be like, hey, this one right here, this is going to be a tough one. I know it's still going to be a high-quality match. but it's not the same lure that I thought it was going to be, because I thought South Carolina would perform much better this season. And again, like to Justin's point, you want to know how offense goes. Look at the sack rate, look at the pressure rate, look at the third down efficiency and the fourth down efficiency. And South Carolina has been horrible in all four of those areas the past 2 years, especially this year. So it's hard to beat anyone when you can't convert on third down or fourth down, and then you have an extremely high QB pressure rate, because that means, he's not even having time to get the ball off. And if your offensive line can't block, then there goes the play action pass. So that takes the run game out of the equation. Thus the reason you're averaging 106 rush yards per game, because now as a defense, I know I can just pin my ears back and tee off on you, because you can't run the ball, you can't block. So in most situations, you're going to be a second and long and third and long. So I already know then I'm blitzing you. I'm not running cover zero, because I'm not going to give Sellers the option to run a quarterback draw up the middle because of the pressure, because the pocket collapses and he's just going to take off. I'm not doing that. So I will give you cover 3 and cover 1 behind it, and maybe even a spy in some situations just to mix it up to take that away from you. But yeah,
LSU played cover 0 for most of the night. They got after him all night, but then even on there was a stat going into that game where he had been pressured on 47% of dropbacks this season. So almost half. He was pressured on 4. It's insane. But then LSU, they were like, we're going to get after him all night, and they did. But on the downs, they didn't blitz. They got 72. They got pressure on 72% of the downs they didn't even blitz on. It was the highest in the country that week.
Wow. And sorry, let me correct. So I'm not into the tent. What's that song that they play when
Sandstorm?
Huh?
Sandstorm.
Yeah, that one.
Look, Marvin, you're kind of almost right, because next year he's going to be coming out with his team to enter Sandman at Virginia Tech.
Well, no sandstorm, no nothing, because they ain't storming nothing right now. Nothing.
Well, Pettey, before we get to our sponsor, let's go ahead and wrap that segment up. What you got to add?
Well, since it seems like we broke this game down into South Carolina is about to get murdered, I want to try to play devil's advocate just a little bit to see if we can throw this. And I'm going to steal from my man, Neil McCready, because I love this question he always poses at people. If the football gods came down and whispered in your ear, hey, the Cox pulled this out Saturday night, but don't tell you how do you see that playing out if there were to be some crazy – look, everybody's laughing. Hey, I'm wearing a Cox shirt. Kyle, come on. Let's go. How'd they pull that out?
Shameless plug, trying to get a sponsor.
Hold on. Let me answer this, because Tough as Nails just put a comment in there. Lawson and Jefferson. He said, Marvin, talk about Lawson and Jefferson. If I'm South Carolina, I'm running the damn ball right at their asses, because, again, we still struggle to get over the top. I don't understand how we get reach blocked so much on our defensive line and our linebackers. It's simple. If flow comes to you, get your ass over the top, Mike Backer, Will Backer, play the cutback, and support as damn needed. It's simple. It's nothing complicated about it. It's been the same game they've played their entire lives. And I still don't understand how our defensive linemen regularly allow these wrap blocks. And then the guy, he'll chip, get up to the next level, and we still have linebackers sitting there who allow guys to wrap, chip, and still reach their asses. Like, what? Do something.
Okay, Chris, Marvin told you how he would do it if he was the Gamecock coach. How would you see the upset playing out?
It's you have to win the turnover battle, and you probably, being honest, you have to win by at least 2 to 3. I think that this team is 80. They've won 82% of their games when they finish even or plus in the turnover margin with under Beamer. There's some that drops to like 22% when they don't. It's really bad. They've done a pretty good job at protecting the football. This year they didn't really against Oklahoma or against LSU, I think, and then they had 4 turnovers in that game against Vanderbilt, which was, we talked about that, how like the dam broke. But Clayton White, I mean, since he has been the DC there, I think he's in year 4 or year 5 now. They have led the SEC in turnovers forced since he's been there with I think 88 coming into the season, and however many they have now. That's the only route. Like, you're gonna have to do some of the cliche things under Beamer, like win the turnover battle by a lot, maybe a blocked punt or something in the return game. And then you have to hope that Bama comes out unfocused and you put them in a bad position early. But even like I tell you what, if Bama came out and lost, or they were behind by double digits early to Vandy or Mizzou or Georgia, any of those teams, I would be concerned. But South Carolina doesn't have an offense that's sustainable, even with a lead like that, where they would be able to hang on.
All right. Well, Marvin, we got a sponsor that we need to let the folks know about as they head to Columbia. What do they need to be waving in the air?
Hey, listen, man, as you prepare to make the trek to go eat your 8-piece, make sure that you have your title towels in hand when you get to Columbia, baby. Visit whitwillsports.com, enter the promo code the Bama Standard for your 10% off discount. And when you show up, make sure you got them in the air, waving them, swinging them, because you're going to need them to wipe that grease off your hands after we finish eating 8 pieces, baby. Roll damn tide.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, we're speaking of sponsors, don't forget, Chubbies, your local sponsor is here wearing a cock shirt. If y'all made one with elephants on it, I'd wear the hell out of it on this show. Just saying.
All right, Chris, I know we only have you for a few more minutes. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Is this a trap game for Alabama? Offensively, Alabama's a mismatch for South Carolina's defense. Let me put it in perspective. South Carolina is in the 100 teams nationally on third down. Alabama is 12th nationally at 49.5% on third down. On top of winning on third down, Alabama is dominating time of possession. But let's look at some of the positives of South Carolina. I mentioned they are struggling offensively, but LaNorris can still pose a threat. We know how difficult of a time we have with mobile quarterbacks. I know Faison is not having the best year, but he can be a threat. And if Nick Harbor decides to go off, that's a big wide receiver who can create problems. And Pettey, to your point, who can blame Alabama for being emotionally and physically drained after 4 emotionally charged games?
We're not doing that. Nobody's emotionally drained. And everybody who's out there, they know what the damn mission is. You know what the damn mission is during the summer. So when you're in this stretch of SEC games, as a player, you know exactly what it is. It's just the next man up. It's just a stretch. Just go do your damn job. And
Chris,
week after week, you just got to get damn through it. People don't – listen, emotions doesn't come into play in football, whether people want to believe that or not. There's no real emotions. Either you're going to get your block knocked off or you're going to knock somebody else's off. It's plain and simple.
It's good to hear that, though, Marvin, because there is that sentiment from the fans that, you're the only one on this set that's done it week after week in an SEC grind. And there is this mentality that after that, it would weigh on you. So it's good to hear that as a Bama fan. That should be reassuring.
What weighs
or if not, you better go talk to the team.
What weighs on you is when you don't take care of your body, when you're not eating right, when you're not in the cold tub, when you're not working out. Those are the things that take a toll on you during the season. It's not the mental of playing tough. Yeah, you knew that when you signed up to play in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing new. It's just if you don't take care of your body properly, that's when you run into those issues. But the athletes who understand the mission, they're going to take care of their bodies. They're going to eat right. They know what it is, and they're going to go do their damn job. It's plain and simple.
Agreed, Shrita. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out playing like the Eagles defense versus Bama. But, Chris, what is the path for South Carolina making this too close for comfort?
It's you're going to have to hit home run plays. Like, you're going to have to figure out, like, if Faison is not going to run the ball 15 carries for 100 yards, he's not going to run the ball 15 times for 75 yards, most likely. They probably won't give him the ball 15 times. So he'll get to 14 and have, like, on the cusp of, like, 100 yards, and Shula will just take him out and put him in, like, witness protection or something like that. That's been the MO this year. So I think they're going to need to figure out a way to get like chunk plays to score, because they have not been able to sustain drives. Like I told you, that stat earlier, when they were playing LSU, they had 7 trips across the 50 in that game alone. They only came away with 3 points. So if they can figure out a way to get some chunk plays that score, not just get you close, but score, that's one route. Winning the turnover battle, like I said, and then maybe something in the other game. I mean, listen, I get what Marvin's saying. And as a former Division II baseball player, trust me, I get it. Playing in the Peach Belt week to week was probably the same as the SEC grind. I'm clearly kidding, but I mean, like, I will say that this is where DeBoer has traditionally and historically struggled. Like, whether what factored into that or not, that's what happened against Vanderbilt. It's what happened against Michigan. It's what happened against Oklahoma. It's what happened against Florida State this year. Double-digit road favorite against a team that is unranked and that you should dog walk out of the building. This is where he struggled. Again, 19-3 against ranked opponents. So I think in this case, you just can't play with your food. And even if you do, I just don't see South Carolina's offense being able to stay around for 4 quarters, or their defense wanting to stay around and tackle players like Daniel Hill and Jam Miller for 4 straight quarters.
Well, here's the thing. As the coach, it's important for you to prepare your team.
Yeah.
I can from being at practice, seeing Coach Saban do it, seeing other coaches that I know that are great coaches do it on game weeks like this. They might just start practice over just for the hell of it, just to make sure that their guys are locked in. Say, hey, y'all are not focused. You're playing. Start it over. Like, that happens regularly. That's how coaches keep their guys locked in. Because, again, it's focused. Because as you practice, so you play. That's what it boils down to. So, again, that's on Coach DeBoer to make sure that they're locked in. But there's no mental aspect to it. It's just making sure you're locked in. Go do your damn job. And if I'm South Carolina's offensive coordinator, Shula, you know how I beat this damn defense? I'm going to run some traps, some counters, and screen game on your ass. Because, again, we all know that this defense struggles with counters, linemen pulling, and gap control. I'm going to hit you where it hurts. And then once you walk that safety down in the box to try to compensate, now I'm going to hit you with a tunnel screen because I know you like to run cover 2, and I'm going to exploit you between the hashes. Then once you start trying to respect that threat, now I'm going to hit you with a hit and go on the outside off a play action pass, take the top off the damn defense, and be done with it.
There's no way Shula has that many plays in his playbook. I said this last week, and the most painful thing I've ever said as somebody that's like covering a team. I was sitting there after the game doing my live post-game show when they lost to Oklahoma, and I was like, I would do unspeakable things for a jet sweep at this point. It is like everything you said is accurate. It's like, run a screen, dude.
Yep.
The offensive line is letting everyone in. It is everyone's crossing the border. Everyone's crossing the border. Hopefully the White House isn't listening.
He never played Tecmo Bowl like Shula did. If you execute, it works. As long as that defense don't pick one of your 4 plays, it's going to work.
It's so bad.
Well, here's the thing about it, though. Everyone knows when you're playing an attacking and swarming defense, how do you slow them down? You run screens. Because, again, that screen game is going to make them have to redirect their eyes regularly. As you start to run those screens, now you can start to hit them with those counters. Now you can sprinkle in some draws. Now you can start exposing them between the hashes because they're so slow. They're thinking about this, those screens on the outside. So that tight end acts like he's going to block, and then he releases up between the hashes on the tunnel screen. It's so many ways you can exploit a defense like
You should talk to Shula. You should honestly. He should reach out to you and be like, "Hey, it sounds like you got some pretty good ideas here."
I used to work for the guy. Pettey, wrap this up.
Man, we're doing the trap game ahead.
Yeah, before Chris goes, we had one more topic to cover, but I know
it is so weird with this being. the Shula topic, because man, he is under the hot seat up there. But do you see? Are you in the press conferences, or do you just cover from the?
I cover from Baton Rouge. I'm in the Brian Kelly press conferences while he's speaking, so I'm all over the place.
Oh, no kidding.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Remember the Dabo thing earlier this season when he was like the grading? That was my question. Yeah.
Well,
that was you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was AI. I was like, there's no way Dabo really said that. And then I'm like texting people during the press conference. I'm like, did he really say that? They're like, that's
no, he said it.
Yeah. And I was like, Brian, question. Dabo Swinney just said, and he's like, it was a great day.
That's what I wanted to get on more. It just seems like such my one thing. I'm not kidding. I look at everything through a lens of Vegas. I think these bastards are onto something. But on the flip side, I can't look past everything we talk about on this show, right? We are very in tune with what's going on at Alabama, what's going on in South Carolina. And man, it seems like we're getting to that point where I don't know. I know Beamer's always kind of a loose cannon. He just seems so combustible and like on edge right now. And I don't know, again, how is this a trap game or is it a trap game that can blow? I mean, I just don't see. It seems more likely for it to blow up for Carolina with just the mindset of the program. Or maybe I'm reading too much into Beamer, and that's just how he is. He's
been handling criticism. His responses are almost how I feel like I would have held a conversation with those refs at the 2022 Bama Tennessee game. Just out for blood and angry as can be. It's just weird how mad he gets right away. And it's like, hey, Shane, there's some clear problems here. And he's like, oh, there's problems? Like this. Yeah. He said something. You
don't say I was at practice. I see every problem out there.
We practiced great this week. And it's like, cool. We don't get trophies for that. The shiny thing Marvin was talking about earlier, you don't get that at practice. And also, you want to practice good on good. You're practicing bad on bad right now, brother. It's not good. And so I asked him this. I told him this a while, so I don't feel bad for making the joke again. But I was like, Shane, one of the reasons I like you the most as a coach is that I feel like you make me believe that I could be a coach with how emotionally unstable I am watching a game. That's how you are, the way that you coach it. And he started laughing. And I don't know if he really got what I was trying to say there, but it's so frustrating to sit there. And one of the things he brought up this week that was worse than anything else was he said, they were like, you were in shotgun for 3 straight times on the 1 yard line and you couldn't punch it in. And he's like, well, last week you guys got upset. We were under center because blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, we were upset last week because you were under center and you fumbled on the first play. Like, you don't defend your statement by saying, hey, oh, yeah, you think that's bad? I did something worse last week. And you're like, what?
And you shitty last week, buddy.
Yeah. You like it's like if your wife was like, I think you forgot our anniversary. You're like, well, also, I think you're gaining weight. And you're like, no, you idiot. You don't say something like that. You don't make things worse. Like, I gotta go, by the way. But it's just
that was beautiful. That's a great way to announce your exit.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. And you talked to Coach Shula. Tell him I think they're still hiring at his dad's Orlando location for a prep cook. And you'd be better at that.
Yeah, I appreciate. I'll end on this. I appreciate you guys having me on. It was great. I'll give you a score prediction. I think it'll be 30-10. I don't think it'll be close. I think it'll be similar to that Oklahoma game, and I think Bama rolls.
Quickly, give us your social so that folks can follow you on your platforms.
Justin, I'm not giving my social security. You've asked me 3 times off air, so I'm not going to give you that.
Listen, man, I'm trying to get to Lenox Mall.
Oh yeah, dude! Good Lenox Mall shout out. I worked across at Houston's for years.
You were getting robbed in the parking lot, Justin.
In Houston or at Lenox?
You get robbed in the parking lot.
I love it. Yeah, shout out Houston's on off Lenox Road. It's gone now, but I've worked there for years. It's Vern_Funquist on Twitter. I see a couple people that I think have either followed and then unfollowed and then followed again. Maybe Sharita Johnson, the house. She's a great follow as well. She's great. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Man, awesome. Thank you so much, brother. It was a lot of fun. You'll be getting some more messages from me. We're gonna bring you back, brother. Thank you.
Enjoy it, Chris.
Sounds good, y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Right,
you too, man. Great stuff from him. Definitely gonna have him back. He wasn't able to go over the next topic because he had to go, but a lot of Alabama fans have been talking about because of what we've seen here recently in terms of the running game with Daniel Hill. Marvin, you mentioned we need a closer at running back. It looks like we've possibly found the closer. He appears to have better vision. When he gets the ball, wherever you point him to, that's what he's going to get to. He's making a difference in games at the right times. I love what I'm seeing from him. Got a very good glimpse this summer when we interviewed him. He compared himself or his style to Derrick Henry, and we're starting to see a little of this. So, guys, honest opinion, do we consider Daniel Hill being RB1? No slight towards Jam Miller at all. We appreciate what he's doing. There's something different, though, with Daniel Hill. Start us out, Marvin, and then Pettey.
What's his pass blocking like? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Because to be running back RB1, not is it damn better. You don't want better. You need excellent. Because the last thing you want is Ty Simpson to get his ass killed.
He was phenomenal last Saturday.
Because the guy's blocking has gotten better, but not good. Because again, this is how you get quarterbacks killed. It's not usually the tackle that gets them killed. It's usually the running back who gets your quarterback killed on a blitz. So that's what you have to ask yourself. Is it worth the sacrifice in his pass blocking to have him as running back 1 versus Jam? That's the $1 million question.
Okay. Very good question. Pettey, where you stand? What have you seen from him? And do you attribute the success late in the games when we put him in there due to the defenses being tired? He's that kind of running back that you use just to lean on him. When that defense is sucking wind, they're looking at him and saying, damn, we got to go after this guy again. Where do you stand on possibly
But hold on, Justin.
making him
but there's
RB1?
There's a difference between being a closer and an RB1. Those are two different things, though.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And that's, look, man, we get excited because we see somebody flash at the end of the game, and he is running good, but that may be his role to finish off into the games, to keep clocks running, because here's the thing, the football's so evolving, and it's not, I feel like I was football savvy until I went to a practice recently and realized I might as well have walked into a class teaching Chinese. It's a whole different game. And the running backs we grew up with aren't the running backs of today's football. Their number one job isn't to be a running back. Anybody can run the damn ball. Sorry, it's not that great of a skill. We got 5 that have the same damn skill set as far as running the ball. But the reason it was so integral to get Jam back for that Tennessee game, because without Jam, Bama's offense becomes one-dimensional based off the running back that's standing next to the quarterback. Because when Richard Young's in the game, you're not passing, because he can't pass block me. You're going to be running the ball. So that was why you didn't rush. He went through the medical protocol. They were going to play him if he wasn't healthy. But that's why you were hoping and rushing to get that medical response back on Jam Miller. And look, if Daniel continues to progress in the blocking side of it, maybe he does start to spell Jam in the first half, because he is a hell of a dynamic runner with unbelievable balance. And late in the game, he is punishing these defenses. But it's one of those things like, let's just chill and let it be what it be. It looked great, and it works great when he's coming in and giving that relief at the end of the game. But Marvin nailed it. I can't go any further. In this era, you have to be able to pass block, or you make your team one-dimensional. And defensive coordinators are too good in this world for that to be any kind of a case, because then you put too much pressure. So if the pass pro comes on, but if that's not there, I'm sorry, guys. Everybody asks about Richard Young week after week after week. Go watch games when he's in. The kid has gotten absolutely blown up in pass pro. And it doesn't matter if you look like Adonis. If you can't block, David, like, it ain't gonna happen. So look, I love what Daniel's brought at the end of the games. And again, if it's long-winded. If he can pass pro, hell yeah, because the kid's got unbelievable balance. But you got to be able to protect Ty first.
Here's the thing: you put the wrong running back in there, and there's a corner blitz, potentially a corner cat. You might get your quarterback killed. If you have a safety or a middle linebacker coming on a delayed blitz, you're probably going to get your quarterback killed. Okay. Let's just be clear about that. You're going to get him killed.
Excellent job, guys. Chat, where do you stand? I see some of you voicing your opinions. I think these guys put everything in perspective. I know as Bama fans, we get excited, like Pettey said, and we like shiny, and we act out of emotion initially. But when we have time to really kind of digest what we've seen, we look at it through a different lens. Great job, guys. Let's turn it over to the audience. I have tagged a few of these questions. Thank you for waiting, everyone. Starting out with Joe Edwards. Why everyone thinks this is a trap game against South Carolina. We cannot look past any team.
We don't play next week. I don't see how this could be. I'm more fall in line with and Marvin is kept telling me I'm a dumbass and he played, so I'm going to take his word for it on this for sure. That I'm more worried about the fatigue of the 4 really brutal games, and then you're going on the road for a 5th win against a team that can do some weird shit at times. So, and Marvin's telling me I'm crazy for that, so I'm sticking with the Roll Tide. But I don't think it's a trap game as far as I would be worried about the letdown from the exhale from the past 4 weeks.
The game is the game. And again, the only thing that changes is how you take care of your body. If you're doing what you need to do to take care of your body, you will survive the war of attrition, and you'll be able to do what you need to do. Nobody is mentally fatigued week after week from playing games. That ain't it. If you're mentally fatigued from playing games, you're in the wrong damn sport. Because this sport ain't for weak-minded individuals first and foremost. because you got to be pretty damn insane to go out here and do this first and foremost. So to be worried about your mental, that ain't it in this sport. So, so that's one thing. But when I say, I don't consider this to be a trap game. I think the team fully knows and understands what's in front of them. I think they understand that, hey, after that Florida State loss, we have no room for error
at all.
And with this being a conference game, they know no room for error. And I think with the new ranking back in the top 5, I think now they understand that as long as we take care of business, we will fulfill our destiny. We control it. No one else does. Roster going into the season, hands down, the most talented roster in college football. Only one that can compete with is probably Ohio State. And you see what they're doing to people. So, again, I think it may be a situation where they realize, hey, we've been underperforming, so let us continue to get better. Because, again, to be compared to the likes of Ohio State, and when you see what Ohio State has been doing to people, the way they've been dominating their opponents from start to finish, we have not gotten to that level of dominance yet this season. So that's why I say these next few games are pivotal as to this team getting themselves in a position to where they can compete with these teams when they get to the playoffs. Because if you ask me, we're not ready to compete with those teams in the playoffs just yet. We're not. We still have a lot of work to do. So I don't see it as a trap game. I see it as another game where this, hopefully, coaching staff is telling the team, hey, this is a game where we can potentially get better. This is when we can refine some things. Because, again, not knocking South Carolina, but there will be certain things you'll be able to do against them that you want to try that you couldn't try against Georgia. That's just the bottom line.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe Edwards. I greatly appreciate that. Chris Williams, if Alabama's offensive line opened up holes the way the defensive line did, Alabama would lead the nation.
Ooh, boy.
Hard to argue. Definitely need to have more of a balanced offense. Chris Williams follows up. What's that?
I was going to say, man, I was just watching the game Saturday, and I was like, somebody should just buy a damn ticket at this point. I'm not going to call any names.
You don't have to. We all know.
But
What I don't understand, and I'm hearing coaches talk about this on other shows, when they moved him moved down to guard, that's his natural fit. We've got too many guys that are guards wanting to be tackles when they're actually guards. And it looked like it worked better at guard, but then we moved it back out to tackle. If the name who shall not be spoken through the taco. We moved back out to tackle, it turned back to a turnstile again.
Yeah, because you're on an island at tackle. You're isolated on tackle unless you have a tight end or a running back to chip and to help you out. At guard, you have a tackle beside you. So even if nothing else, that tackle can still punch inside and still go do what he needs to do. So that simple inside punch will help that guard out to compensate what he's doing. So, that's if you need that kind of help, but you can't do that at tackle because at tackle, that defensive end of the outside linebacker, he's going to be on your outside edge. So unless you got a running back or a tight end coming to help you, you're on your own. And the way these guys get off the ball, listen, man, be late. Second guess. Think about anything. Your ass is done.
So Marvin's saying put the sour cream on the inside of the taco, not the outside of the taco.
Some guacamole.
Yeah. I'm sure I got that right.
Chris Williams follows up. I'm actually surprised that Alabama has showed up every week. They normally have a big letdown game somewhere along the way. Auburn fan gave
first game of the that was against – if somebody's going to have to explain this to me when the season's over, I don't give a shit about any intangible where if it was played on Mars, Pluto, even if that's even a planet. This Florida State sucks. And I don't care. I'll never understand it. I don't care if we were all on acid, we still should have beat that damn team. Sorry.
If you watched that game that they just played against Stanford last week, I get it. Castellanos gets injured. He goes out late in the game. But even before Castellanos goes out of the game, Stanford was giving them all that they wanted. So to think that, we let this team beat us, not win, they beat us. There's a difference between winning and getting beat. We got beat. So that's the thing that disturbed me most about that game. So that's why I say I'm hopeful that beating stung enough to where they don't want to experience it again this season.
And to your point, Marvin, maybe that was that we won't have the trap because of that memory that's not going to go away. And it gets reminded every week when we see how shitty Florida State is. So it's like, oh, we haven't forgot. They suck and we lost to them. don't let this shit happen.
No. We didn't lose to them. We got beat.
Oh, we got beat. Yeah.
Wasn't even close.
You're right.
I'm trying to block that out of my mind, so I'm going to switch to tough as nails. I know there is room for improvement, but does the panel think Alabama has peaked? I don't think we peaked. I don't think we played our best game yet. But Marvin, Pettey, where do you stand?
Is Womack still the defensive coordinator?
Oh, boy.
And we have not peaked yet. Listen, man.
Oh.
Because there's so much room for improvement up here. Like, I want to see our front seven play a solid game where we dominate, physically control the line of scrimmage, play gap-down football, where our defensive linemen are not getting reached, our linebackers are getting over the top. That's all I want to see. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask?
Is it too much to ask, Pettey?
No, it's not. I don't think this team has peaked, but I do think we're climbing the mountain each week. I will say that. And I think we're climbing it at a faster rate than other programs. If you look around the outside of Ohio State, who doesn't play anybody, I don't think there's any team playing better than Alabama right now. So have we peaked? No, but I do think we're peaking quicker than other teams right now, and we're definitely moving in the right direction. But to Marvin's point, man, there's things you've got to fix on that.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a point where a team is able to run the ball and handle that time of possession and put pressure on our offense to score every drive, and that's where games get weird. So, yeah, there's Marvin's absolutely right, man. This is where I refer to the guy with the big muscles who cracks skulls, knows what he's damn talking about. Like, you got to keep getting better because no, you can't rest on it. But yeah, I do. I watch. I'm a junkie, and what I've seen from Alabama is a team improving a whole lot quicker than everybody else.
Well, because again, we know that last weekend of November, they're going to run the damn ball. They're going to run the ball. LSU is going to try to run the ball. So we have to get better at the run. And thankfully, I'm so thankful for Georgia and the fact that Kirby did not try to run the ball like they should have. Because that was the difference in us winning that game. Had Georgia came out and ran the ball, it would have been a different game.
Thank goodness a lot of these coaches have abandoned their philosophy because that made a difference for sure. Kiera, 35. What happened to those two edge rushers South Carolina had last year? I believe they were both freshmen and they were fast. Actually, Kyle Kennard is now in the NFL. Still there.
One's a pro and one's now by himself.
Yes.
And the thing with it wasn't just Kennard, like Justin said, on the outside. They also had Bennett sitting right next to him on the inside, who was a tank at defensive tackle. They lost 3 defensive linemen to the pros. You look a lot better when you got to account for 3 other guys. Now it's just one, so it's kind of negated, Dylan. And a lot of people, and Marvin, when you have a Harold Perkins or a Dylan Stewart, or where you're seeing it at Ole Miss with Sunterrain Perkins, who are these kind of hybrid defensive ends that can rush the hell out of a passer and look good when they have all this help. But when it's just them, they're almost kind of easy to scheme. You can almost run right at their asses and take them out of games.
Well, I mean, you got to understand they're going to be lighter. They're going to be smaller. So, they're going to be your outside linebackers, defensive end. Most of them are going to go around 255 to 265. So they're not going to be the bigger bodies like that you would have if you had a traditional defensive end in a 4-3. He may be 285 to 295. He's going to be a bigger body, so it's going to be a lot easier for him to set that edge. When you have a guy that's 250 pounds, you can block him with the damn tight end, But again, that's why you need those what they call space eaters in the middle of your defense to command those double teams. Because if they can command those double teams, then it puts those edge rushers in formidable matchups on those tackles where they can have that two-way go. Because again, you think about it, if that guard and that center are having to double team that nose, now that tackle is on his own on the edge. You understand? Now I'm going to line you up in a wide 9 so that I can have a little bit more room to give you that two-way go. So if you want to, attack that inside with some type of spin move, or if you want to rip and club, or if you want to take the outside edge, dipping and ripping. But again, I'm going to do all those things to put you in the best matchup. Because as a coach, when I used to coach, my philosophy was this. I'm going to look at all 3 levels. And on those 3 levels, what do I want to impact most? Who's the weakest link? Who on that defensive line do I want to exploit? Who in your linebacker crew do I want to exploit? Who in your secondary do I want to exploit? And based upon those decisions, I will then scheme and game plan. So in a situation like this, where I have those type of edge rushers, I'm going to want a bigger nose tackle that's going to be in the range of 330 to 350 pounds. That's going to have a low center of gravity, built like Grady Jackson, built like Josh Chapman, built like those guys that can get low and underneath those guys so that center and that guard have to double team. So again, I can take my outside linebackers, defensive end, line them up in wide nines so that I can give them two-way goals, knowing that my inside backers can play and fit inside of those in the event that it's a run into those gaps. So it's all about scheming and putting your team in the best position.
RB,
I know it was a lot.
RB, we send these tapes to Lawson every week. We're hoping it. We're trying, but
we do. We always get returned to sender. I don't know why. Tough as nails, DeBoer seems more comfortable in his shoes this year. Does the panel like the play calling of Ryan Grubb? Absolutely love it. Now, I think there are times during the game where he kind of pumps the brakes a little bit when he really shouldn't. I think there are times where he gets a little too cute at the wrong times during the game. But overall, very happy, guys. Where you stand? Pettey?
Look, everybody wants to see passion out of him. Go watch that entrance Saturday night when he banged the damn goalpost. Look, I knew at that moment, there ain't nobody stepping on this field. When Alabama comes out like that, I'm sorry, college football world, you're in trouble. He is more comfortable. I think this is his team, and he's getting to be himself. I think the last year was just so much going on with that season. We're now past it. He got past the Florida State thing, got past all that heat, and now we're playing good football. And, yeah, I love the play calling of Ryan Grubbs. You know, you're always going to question stuff, but that's the whole thing, I think, as fans, that you hear – you get pissed in the moment, but then you'll hear a coach talk about it, like, yeah, you're right. He's like, hey, I made a really horrible call, and some freaks made some plays that made me look genius. And I've made some really great calls that some dummy missed a block. And you're like, hey, moron, great call. I'm like, well, if so-and-so makes one block, we're going for 6. So, but there are times I'm like, hey, Grubbs, you could have done that on 3rd down and we wouldn't have had to get to 4th. But, no, I love Grubbs. I love what they're doing right now. It's hard not to be happy about this coaching staff.
I mean, overall, I feel like he's doing an A job. So, you know, he's getting it done. They're putting up a good amount of points. Again, Ty passing at a high level. The only thing that, you know, that I would say is a knock on Grubb and his offense is the actual run game. Again, I'm telling you, and I'm going to say it again, you have to run the ball. The deeper you get into this season, the more you need to be able to run the ball. So I just hope that, you know, he takes advantage of next week and figure out this run game before we start this next stretch of the season.
RTR, Mimi, which Bama players could have a breakout game? So much talent. Offensively for me, Daniel Hill, I think will take a next step. Defensively, I'm going to still go with my guy, London Simmons. Marvin, and then Pettey.
Well, I mean, I'm Jeremy Bernard all day. I've been on this kid since last year, and I've been saying, so goes Bernard, so goes this offense. But looking at Horton is stepping up in a big way. So I expect to see a lot more out of Horton because I think you're going to see a lot more teams putting their best corner or second best corner on Bernard, trying to take him away, or double teaming Ryan and run some type of bracket. However, they can be creative to try to stop both of them. But Horton's going to have to step up as that number 3. So I expect to see him, you know, take some steps. Defensively, I damn no. Listen, man, can one of our linebackers actually act like we know how to be a linebacker? Michael Will, one of the two. I need one of the two to step up and show me that, hey, I'm fully capable of being that guy. Because I've always said it. So goes your middle linebacker, so goes your defense. And if your middle linebacker should be your enforcer. I mean, you go back and you look at the great teams. You look at the teams with the Rolando McClains, the Reuben Fosters, the Reggie Ragners, the Derek Odens, the Ray Lewises. All those teams, you had linebackers who laid the law down and did not care what he had to do to set the tone and tempo for his team early and often in games, letting his opponents know that it's going to be a long damn day and that your ass better have packed the lunch, because I'm telling you now, it ain't ending no time soon. That's what we need to get back to.
Ooh, Pettey, you got to follow that up.
I can't really. Damn it, Marvin. Like, I was hoping you would just stick with Bernard, because I was going to say, man, Horton is really getting more comfortable in this offense. He was injured out of the gate a little bit, And so he kind of got forgotten about. But the last few weeks, he's been more and more of a problem. And I do think I think Marvin's dead on with that. I think Bernard's best receiver in the room, and I think that continues to grow. And I think what you've seen, Ryan Williams kind of had to get some growing pains, and he's been a little more gritty the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think Ryan's becoming more of what we expect.
Hold on, Pettey. I want you to add this to your answer. I want to add, and I don't usually speak on offense, but I want you to add this to this context to what you're just saying.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't take into account this one factor: the fact that Alabama struggles to run the ball. If you struggle to run the ball, that means I can have a lighter box. If I can have a lighter box, that means I can play you better in the pass game. So if you're looking at what Ty has been doing passing wise, knowing that teams are playing with a lighter box, that's actually very damn impressive, because we're not doing anything to make teams walk that safety down in the box. So we're not seeing 8-man boxes regularly. No. So the fact of Ty doing what he's doing with the lighter box, it's very damn impressive.
Yeah, you're dead on. Because, Tennessee wasn't bringing much pressure Saturday. He was having to go against a lot of zone coverages and read, and that's – like, guys, what Marvin's saying is Ty's reading defenses, going through progressions, finding opening guys in the holes, and he's just done such an amazing job of it. So, yeah, I'm kind of with Marvin. I think it's going to be another one of the receivers. It could even be Latsier Brooks. You're seeing Brooks really step up. Defense, I can't back Marvin up. Damn it. He said exactly. I was like, I don't know. Somebody on the defensive line, I guess. Somebody mentioned Overton keeps getting better. Tim Smith gets pissed off and shows streaks.
Keenan.
Yeah, Keenan Smith. Keenan. Landon Collins. I love our hometown guy from Mississippi that's been on with us, but I don't know, man. Maybe Pierre keeps stepping up. This defense is weird. It's like what Marvin bitches about. It's not just this dominant Bama defense where these tanks that you just know that are going to make plays it's just guys that kind of make. It's a bend, don't break. So random guys are making plays from time to time. So it's kind of hard to say, outside of what, someone blowing up like Pierre did last week. That's a very diplomatic answer to say I have no clue like Mark.
Very diplomatic. You should be a politician. Don Parker, $10. Bama still will need to improve and play to the standard. I'm personally not comfortable with this year's Sandstorm game. Bama must come to play. Especially with this swarm defense, I am concerned. All right. Thank you, Don Parker. And thank you again, Don Parker. Bama will still need to improve and play to the standard. I am personally not comfortable with this year's Sandstorm. Okay. He liked it so much, he said it twice. Thank you for both of those super chats. Big Bill from New York, $5. He said this earlier. Good call, Marvin. Of course, all the points you've made tonight have been excellent. So you got $5 coming your way because of that. We need to run the ball better. Without the pick, it was a close game. RTR. Don Parker again, $5. Marvin Constant just hit the nail on the head. This team has to improve on execution and performance in all three phases of the game. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you for all the great comments and questions. We are thankful for you being here tonight. All right, guys, last but not least, this is where it all makes the wait worthwhile for the end of the show. Predictions. Real quick. Alabama versus South Carolina. One more game before the break. What you got, Marvin, and then Pettey?
I'm going to go 34-13. I know that's a huge gap, but just looking at the deficiencies of South Carolina plus the injuries, I think that, again, we're going to take another step this week. I think this team finally is starting to understand who they are and how they need to improve. So I expect to see those improvements this week.
Yes, sir. Pettey.
I see two programs going in different directions. I can't help but feel like when you see a coach acting the way Beamer is, that he's starting to kind of lose control and realize that the offense is bad. This Faison kid got from Snow College or whatever. He's no rocket Sanders, and they just didn't replace the people. Yeah, I actually see Bama handling this one pretty well, getting out of it, maybe taking off. But 31-7 is my prediction for this one Saturday.
Okay. You heard it here, folks. Continue to get your predictions in. We love the interaction from you guys. All right. Before we officially close up shop, we got to go around the room real quick. Let's follow the cast. Everyone, tell the folks where you can be found. Oh, and real quick, guys, those in the audience, be ready for this. We're going to be spending some time with Tyrone Prothrow tomorrow night. That means we got a video coming for you guys, probably Thursday at some point. So y'all be looking on our channel for the release of that. But Marvin, tell the folks how they can find you, and then Pettey.
You can find me on Instagram, Constant45. On X, I'm Constant451. I'm not hard to find, people. I'm out here in the world.
Yes, sir. Pettey, you're not hard to find either, especially from Chubby's if they want to sponsor you.
Yes, Chubby's, get me that elephant shirt in the mail and some sponsorship money, and I will do it up. Also, if everybody in the chat, as soon as Justin made his reference to Tyrone Prothrow coming on, didn't immediately start singing, you got to call on Tyrone.
Hey, Pettey.
You are my people. I'm Pettey _Daniel on X.
Hey, Pettey.
Yo.
Pettey. That shirt says I'm 60 years old and I live in Boca Raton, Florida.
I want to be a 60-year-old Boca, baby, on a fishing boat.
Over there looking
Sign me up. I don't want to be 60 yet. I got a few years to that, but sign me up for the Boca boat, rooster, cock all over the shirt lifestyle. Cocks everywhere.
Then why are you dressed up like Wilford Brimley? Duh, beaters.
Man, come on, man. I told y'all I'm a sponsor whore. I'm trying to get up the money.
I'm not wearing that, Pettey. I'm not.
Yes, you will. You look good in it, Marvin.
Hey.
Well, I wore an Alabama shirt for y'all today.
I'm blown away by that.
I am too. I don't even know how to act, but hey, thank you everyone for being
still tight, baby.
Woo-hoo. Oh hell. We got a Mr. Olympia here, Bama Standard style. And this is why y'all tune in. But hey, thank you to everyone who was a part of the show tonight. Thank you for Chris, who left earlier. Great information from him. He'll be back on. Let us know what you think about him. Also, too, if you're catching the replay, get in the comment section, drop what you think there. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you're looking at this show at another social media platform we have it streaming on, come over to our channel, subscribe, like the stuff we provide. But that's going to do it for us. Make sure you tune in to the Bama Standard post-game show immediately following Alabama versus South Carolina. And then also one last thing, George Teague has asked me to let you know if there is a play during the game upcoming, go ahead and mark it down, the minute mark, and what you want to see. He's going to break that video down the following Monday on Teague's Take. Definitely make sure you participate in that. Email me, justinriley@theBamaStandard.com, so your play can be featured on Teague's Take. All right. That's it, guys. Thank you for an excellent show. Marvin, Pettey, rock stars as usual. That'll do it for all of us. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.